off the show by saying something that I've said once and only once on this show, and it happened around 4 years ago today. About 4 years ago today, we were doing the show. I was like, hey, man, political comments. Like, I know there's election coming up. You don't have to remind me. But election comments and political debates in these shows, in these streams, in these comments are getting taken down. 1,000% happening. Yes, it happened. Oh, it happened today. Want to know what I was dealing with? People coming after my head because I wouldn't let them have a political debate in a sports stream. Well, go have it somewhere else. You're not going to have it here. If it's a business that I'm running, you can't do it. I get to dictate what you can and cannot do. How about that? Got lots to talk about. We're going to go through an early LSU versus Alabama preview, an early look of what we're going to talk about next week. Yes, we're going to break down Alabama here tonight, something that LSU can exploit, something that I still feel confident that Alabama does, that I think, or Alabama doesn't do well, that LSU does do well, that they can get after. 1,000%. By the way, no player has to get involved when I say what I got to say today. This game being home at night, you had a lot of people. Some of you, put your hands up in the chat if you know who you are. But like, how do you know that this game's going to be at night? Y'all remember how many debates we got on this show? Blake, how do you know that this game's going to be at night? Come on. Come on. You know, I know, everybody knows. Everybody knows that game was going to be at night, because it always pretty much is. Just make certain games at night for the hell of it. We're going to go through that. We are going to go through an Alabama deep dive here tonight. 3 things that they're going to do to exploit you, things 1,000% you can do to them, and why I think you can win this football game. I know a lot of you are down. Don't be. Don't do it to yourself. You can win this football game. You can 1,000% win this football game. There's some things, you got to avoid, but I feel like we talk about that every single week. No different here. So we'll go get a little look at Alabama. Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered joins us. Looking forward to him. What was his thoughts? He came to LSU Ole Miss. We didn't get to catch up with him. What did he think of the place? He's going to build off tonight's show a little bit. How did he experience? What does he think of the LSU SEC? We'll go broad strokes. That's what she said. And the SEC as well, what he thinks about the conference as a whole. So looking forward to that with Chris here tonight. If we have time at the end, I'll give you my picks. Normally we do them on Thursdays, but just in case we have a little bit of time, we'll get to those two here tonight. But did give out some picks this week. You boys over 64 wins nationally. That's not easy. I don't get these rental wins. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get conference rental wins when we pick these. So we do those on Rufino and Joe. We bring them here too. I give it a little bit more example or explanation as to why I'm picking these games. Taylor with a $10 super chat says, Xavion has struggled with some drops, but I'd love for us to get him more involved out of the backfield with seeing how dangerous he is with the carries he got, but we can't be too predictable. All right, so let's break that down. That's got a couple of layers in it. He has been with drops. Let's label his drops. Okay. The drop that he had against Ole Miss, he's diving for the football. Now, some of you will characterize it as Taylor, that's a drop for him. I just don't know if I can look at that one and say it's a drop. Like, if you're diving for the football, I don't consider that a drop. The one where he had to jump up in the air and got hit and dropped the ball, I mean, your quarterback did put him in a very peculiar situation, and he got popped. Should he have probably come down with the ball on the one where he got hit really hard? Probably. You got to make those tough plays. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. It's just not going to be why I think you lost the game. Like, I'm not going to say that, hey, a receiver was out in a pattern and he, right when the ball got there, he got hit really hard and he didn't catch the football. So, I mean, it's so far down the list for me. Now let's get to the second layer. I actually 1,000% agree with you. I think you got to throw the football with him in the backfield. I think you got to give somebody else some looks here in the running game. You know, listen, we talked about this on Monday with Carter, okay? Not all of these bad run plays are on the offensive line. Not all of them are. Because the truth is, like, Tre'Davious Green gave up 3 tackles to Nick Scorton down the line of scrimmage. Like, that can't happen. You can't have the best, arguably talent-wise in the NFL, one of the better DNs in the country against a true freshman tight end. And especially him not winning it. If you're going to do that, put Mason there. Like, why are we using Tre'Davious? Why are we using him on the end line of scrimmage? You said you moved him to the slot because of that reason that, you know, he's been struggling blocking at times. It's a tough ask. But he seems to, when, you know, they used to use those motions and hand him the football off. I mean, he would get 5 yards a pop. He get 2, 3, 4. I mean, he get 3, 4, 5 yards a pop. I don't disagree with that. I'm 1,000% with you on that part. In reference to the drops, though, I just, you know, that's tough. It's very tough. He did make a massive catch and saved Garrett Nussmeier on a 3rd down against Ole Miss, too, that it was also diving. Dane Bergeron with a $5 super chat says, everyone be careful out there. My ex-wife is riding around on her broom preparing for Halloween night ride. Well, Dane, I'm just going to say this. Number 1, thank you for the super chat. Number 2, I've learned I'm not going to call my wife a witch. I'm probably not going to call yours a witch. Women, listen, if you got a wife like that, like, hey man, I'm not going to mess with those women. I'm just going to leave me alone. I don't want that voodoo Louisiana curse on me. No, sirree. I do not. Nope. Not going to happen. Thank you for the super chat, though. Stephen Young, let's get to a couple comments. Stephen Young says Lacey is the one who had more drops for real. And I think to Taylor's point, and he's in the comments here, he says, I'm just saying that he hasn't been as sure-handed as CJ Aaron Anderson, but I feel like he's too explosive to not get a lot of touches. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's fair, Taylor. 100% fair there. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and notification bell. And wherever you're listening to us on podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. About this time every episode, I tell you about him. Guys, Cherry Bundy. Go over to our good friends over at cherrybundy.com. Listen, I've lost weight. I've been at the gym, been working out, been lifting weights for recovery. Cherry Bundy is a really good product to use. They're tart cherries with all the antioxidants, helps for recovery, helps with sleep, helps with joint pain. That's why 66 of the 67 teams in the Power 4 use Cherry Bundy. Get over there today wherever they are sold. Kroger, Walmart, all that stuff. Winn-Dixie, all of it. Go get you some Cherry Bundy and help your recovery. Let me get to a quick break. We come right back. We preview just a little bit LSU, Alabama next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. Have If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Let's get moving. Had a lot of you today. Like I had this guy, John, just message us into the show. Says he watches the show all the time. I greatly appreciate all of you who reached out after you saw us over at Service Hawk Digital. We're going to continue to do shows there. You know, I'm supposed to be there tomorrow, but Ben is sick, so I'm probably going to have to reschedule and maybe go on there on Friday. But we are going to be doing a lot of content from our with our good friends over at Service Hawk Media. More LSU content as this continues to go on. We're going to bring on some guests, talk about LSU, talk about whatever the conversation brings us. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be really good. If you're a business owner, you want growth in your business, get over to them. Give them a call. They'll help you out. Guys, they're geniuses. I'm a growing business in a digital space. I'm telling you, these guys know. I've asked them all the questions. I've talked to them. They know what they're doing. They can help your business grow in a very, very rapid rate. Let's get to it. So let's preview LSU versus Alabama a little bit earlier than we normally would, and we got to, I guess, because it's during a bye week. Listen, there is a soundproof way, pun intended here, that LSU can win this game. There is one clear advantage that LSU has going into this game. It's you. Whoever's watching this and whoever's going to be at the game in 2 weeks, LSU and Bama in Death Valley at night, you are the reason that LSU is going to win this game or be a massive part in them winning this game. Let me tell you why. Guys, Alabama this season has 2 losses, and obviously we all know Saban's not there, so maybe it kind of loses its rivalry luster in the sense of that you want to get over Saban. The Death Star has gone away, whatever you want to label it as, whatever. But Alabama, going into the month of November for the first time in a long time, has 2 losses going into the month of November, which they're not accustomed to that happening in year 1 under Kalen DeBoer. But, guys, Alabama has had one big weakness that they have not been able to overcome. It's penalties. They are a highly penalized football team. Guys, they're 129th in the country in penalties. They're 129th in the country in penalty yards. It's why, quite honestly, their offense has been stalling for so long and so much in these big crucial games, whether the game is at home against South Carolina, whether they're on the road against Vanderbilt, even really and truthfully in the second half, and why Georgia's able to come back in a lot of situations. Because on a 3rd and 2, they get the first down, but oh no, a really boneheaded decision by a wide receiver and they hold. Or like when Kendrick Law purchased a DB on 3rd and 1, I think it was going to be 3rd and 1, and now you're back to all the way up because of a personal foul. They are highly penalized. They also have pre-snap penalties too. And that's what I'm talking about with what you can do, what you can bring to this game. Because I do, and if we've already seen, look, a very big reason why they've had struggles this year is because in crucial situations, they make bad decisions. Very, very bad decisions. So, when you're loud on 3rd down, when you're able to make sure that Milroe can't hear and make a check to those wide receivers. Your atmosphere can help you do it. Helped you against Ole Miss. And it's ironic in saying that it helped you against Ole Miss because Ole Miss is 120th in the country in penalties. They're 120th in the country in penalty yardage. Don't underestimate the power of what this place can do. You know, the vibe around here gets a lot different, too. If LSU beats Bama in 2 weeks, well, less than 2 weeks now, but, you know, when and if they win, the perception's a little bit different. Hey, man, I mean, you got 3 games. You can make a playoff here. You can make a playoff run. You're right. You could. But Alabama has had those issues. It's made Jalen Milroe look very pedestrian because he is not the kind of guy that can sit back in the pocket and throw on 3rd and longs and be productive. It's why he had struggles last year in the beginning of the year. When Alabama is methodical, they're going to run on 1st down. They're going to probably throw it on 2nd down. And then they're going to try to get you in a 3rd and short, or they're going to try on 2nd down when they throw it to get something intermediate and try to get right back upfield. And they're going to attack you in the middle of the field. Your linebackers have to be big here. Your safeties have to be big here. They're going to attack the middle of the football field. Their massive issue, man, is that they're very undisciplined. It's not like it's been something that Alabama hasn't been the last couple of seasons. Guys, even under Nick, they were in the 100s last year in penalties and in penalty yardage. I mean, this isn't new for this team. This isn't new for Jalen Milroe to have to overcome. But, guys, they are the worst team in the Power 4 in penalties. Dead last. Dead last. So, regardless, if you take that A off the side or the numbers off the side of the helmet or the A off the chest, doesn't matter. If you're talking about any team that is dead last in the P4 in penalties, guys, they're almost dead last in all of college football in penalties, they make boneheaded mistakes. This is not the place. It will never be the place where you come into an environment and find yourself with false starts, with not making boneheaded decisions, because this place is really tough to win in. Death Valley is a tough place to win in. But a lot of them are coming, and a lot of these penalties coming on crucial 3rd downs. Another thing. Well, let me get to this before we get to anything. So just to throw out some statistics here before I get to point number 2, Bama's 38th in total offense, 44th in total defense, 49th in rushing offense. And then let me get to this one. Guys, you're really bad at running the football. You're very bad right now running the football. Bama has had massive issues stopping the run. Guys, they're 69th in the country in run defense. 69th. Teams have been able to run the football on them. Want to know why Georgia was able to come back in the second half? Well, finally, somebody started running the football on them. Vandy ran the football on them. Vandy. Now, I know Vandy's having a good year, but Vandy, guys, Tennessee was able to run the football on them. Now, Tennessee, I mean, they can't really pass block worth a damn, but they got some maulers like Lance Hurd, ironically. They ran the football on them. I know that you're struggling, but you're not facing a D-line that's playing like the 2 D-lines that you faced when you faced off against Ole Miss and Texas A&M. They're not that. It's not the same Alabama. They don't have those dudes. They don't have the depth. They don't have the big guy in the middle. That worries me. Now, I don't know of the status of Garrett Dellinger, but that would worry me. Can Palma being a step in and really get after it? Guys, they have been bad at moments again in the run game. As an example, to give you an idea of where things stand, LSU has been better. Yes, LSU, even with the A&M stuff. LSU has been better on the ground, from a statistical point of view and eyeball point of view. South Carolina point of view in the eyeball test. Their O-line is very bad at run blocking and pass blocking. They could run the football. So again, I think when I look at Bama and I look at LSU, and the early thought of this game, guys, I know LSU's bad lining up and running that rock. I get it. But man, if you cannot run the football in this Alabama football team, I mean, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why are you the only team that with 2 weeks was able to figure out a situation where you couldn't run the football? I don't think that they have the dudes in the front four that can or front seven, really. You've ran, let me say this. Of all the teams that you would play, I don't know if Alabama would have the fourth best defensive line that you faced or front seven. I don't know that. They'd be right around that. I mean, I think USC's has been better in specific areas at times, specifically. So they have been leaky in the run. They have been leaky. And for what it's worth, I'll tell you what I think. I was never going to say this. I told Carter this. It's why we brought it up in our segment last week and we were talking about it. I think schematically, like, running backs are lined up in the wrong spot. I think that, he's not, Brian Kelly hasn't said that, but the run game just looks disjointed from a scheme aspect. Like it does. Even with that, I mean, you're having issues on the offensive line in the interior. You're having false start penalties. You're being predictable. I don't like the formations you're running out of. And here's another thing. Like, man, I saw in the preseason at practices, guys, you saw it too because we were out there filming this at practice, okay? Where's the 12 personnel stuff? Where's the 12 personnel stuff when you were going under center? Where is that? Because you ran it all camp, and now you've gone away from it. You're not even trying it. You'll go pistol. Where was that last week? Where was that last week? You can't run the football, and you're going to keep just trying it over and over and over again, the same shit? Like, where is that? So there's a lot of things going into this running game issue. However, listen, man. Guys, if you can't, you got a much, much bigger issue if you can't run against this defensive line. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to go for over 200 yards rushing. Hell, I'm not even really asking you to go for over 150, really. But if you get close to it, you're going to win the football game. Caden Durham's got to be big here. Josh Williams. And even if you're doing some things out of the backfield from a passing standpoint, like if you're throwing the ball in the flat to a running back, like I'll consider that a run just because for whatever reason you don't think or you can't do it. But man, you gotta find ways to make run. Guys, when you line up on second down, the worst that it should be is 2nd and 7. So worst it should be. And we're not getting into those easy second downs. We're just not. So I think it's a big key here. I think it should be a big key here. But man, when I look at Alabama, they have had issues on their D line. Passing offense, they're 44th in the country, 35th in passing defense, 66 on third downs offensively. Something interesting here. Guys, I don't know what to make of this Alabama offense. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why they scare me for one big reason. Like, I think that they've been hamstrung because they have had penalties on offense. That has been what's keeping them back ultimately. Ultimately, it's what's been keeping them back. Now, play calling before that, sure, like being in a lot of 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7s, well, it's happened to you. Take that same logic, that same exact logic that we have about our offense. Well, man, Garrett's in a lot of 3rd and 7 pluses. He is. So is Jalen Milroe. What team can get positive yardage on 1st and 2nd down or doesn't get penalties to get you behind the chains and behind the sticks to where you're like, damn, man, I got a 3rd and 11 here. All right, I guess we got to dial it up. It's not conducive to win. But something is certainly off. Timing. They're trying to get Ryan Williams involved a lot more on 3rd down. He also scares me because, guys, when they do convert and they go to him, the young 17-year-old wide receiver is making plays. He's making plays. So I know that they've been sluggish, and I know that they've looked bad. I still think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. I do, guys. Like, I really do. I don't think coaching, I don't think that his track record would say that even when he coached the national championship game last year, that he's just a bad coach. So when I look at Kalen DeBoer and I say to myself, what do they look like? What do they do coming out of the bye week, which is my number 3 topic here? And the last thing, in this early preview versus Bama, let me tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to come out and run zone read on you. They're going to force you to stop it. They're going to run right at number 40 and number 18 and say, hey, big boy, daddy's over here. What you going to do about it? And you know what you got to do? You got to buckle up that chin strap and say, I'm right here, bitch. Because I think that there's got to be some form of toughness that you got. Guys, first thing, I promise you, DeBoer's going to run zone read at least once in the first 3 plays. It's coming, depending on how the game plays out. If they get the ball first, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm running zone read, play 1. Show me you fixed it. Show me you fixed it. I mean, because I look at the South Carolina film, dog, you made Lenora Sellers look like the second coming of Bo Jackson that could throw the football, which, by the way, Bo Jackson played in Major League Baseball and was a running back. Why didn't they ever try to let him throw the football? You ever thought about that? Man, I guess we'd call him Cam Newton. Oh, I saw the debate today. On Twitter. Burrow versus Cam Newton. By you, Jesus. All right. Anyway, I think that we have pigeonholed Kalen DeBoer. Ha ha ha! 2-loss team. All right. What happens? Have you fixed your issue, your main issue? Because, again, you let 2 teams run zone read on you and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it. They're going to do it. And if you can stop them, the penalty issue, 129th in the country in penalties is Alabama. Well, it's going to be conducive. All right. Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered, joins us next. Let me get to a quick break. Hit the like and share. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get to Chris Phillips. He said, is this – we're going to get a little preview in here with him. LSU, Alabama, early preview here. Is Death Valley the toughest place to play? He would know. He was there against Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago. We'll talk to him about that too. Stay with us.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. Chris, I know that you're a baseball guy, but listen to me. My Yankees are up 3-0 on the Dodgers right now. They were down 3-0. We're coming back. Aaron Judge is back. Here come the Yankees, baby. How are you?
Blake, what's up, man? I was about to ask you. I was just eating dinner downstairs, watching that game, and watch Judge and Jazz Chisholm, I think, go back to back. So yeah, listen, don't let them take the series back to LA, man. Don't give the Yankees that much life. I all of a sudden you get to a game 6, it starts creeping in the back of your mind, man. We can't lose this one because of game 7. Anything can happen, man. But Blake, it's good to be here, man. Got some exciting news, by the way, just before we jumped on. And I mentioned this to you before, but the masses are obviously.
You're going to be in Baton Rouge in 2 weeks. I knew it.
I wish that was the news I was giving you. I do. But I think maybe just as exciting, if not more exciting, my sister and her husband are officially calling Baton Rouge. They are moving back first week of December. They've already got the house, the job, everything signed, good to go. So I will officially have family in the great state of Louisiana and in Baton Rouge once again. So now I've got even more reason to come down and a place I can stay long term. So the next stay will be much longer than a weekend, I can assure you. Very excited for it. And who knows, maybe the Phillipses are kind of just relocating down to the boot. You never know. But I don't know. Maybe it was that trip we went down to LSU together. Obviously, we went to that Ole Miss game. My sister and her husband were like, we got to get back. We got to get back. So I don't know. Maybe I'm next. Maybe I'm next.
I think that was it.
That was probably it. That sealed it. That sealed it. That and the fat check that ExxonMobil's throwing them, but that's kind of besides the point.
Oh, well, I mean, it's Exxon. You know, I wish they would turn your brother's call over here. I'm like, just put like, dude, I told him I'd put a big Exxon sign behind my ass. You know what I mean?
Engineers a solid life. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So they got options, and yeah, man. Like I said,
I'm gonna call your sister and be like, "Listen, AYS needs a sponsorship down here." Now. I mean, like, money ain't an issue for Exxon right now, man.
Yeah, for those that don't realize, she went to the University of South Carolina, moved there just out of college, worked for Exxon, was there about 3 years. Met her husband there, left, and moved back to South Carolina. And they were here about 2-3 years, like I said, man, and they realized, they were like, man, we really liked it down there. So you know what
happened? Let me tell you what really happened.
All right.
This is what really happened. They didn't tell you this, but I know for a fact it happened. One day when they were in Baton Rouge, they went to this little place called Pyran's. Okay? They got the andouille uncrusted, and that was the real sealing deal. But it's interesting because, Chris, when I was just talking a little bit earlier, we we're giving a little bit of an Alabama LSU preview here for in 2 weeks. And I said, listen, Chris has actually been in this environment. All of us know about the environment. And I'm going to ask you about this and your experience in just a second. Chris, that's where I think LSU gets to them. Because they've been they're 129th in the country in penalties, meaning Alabama. That has been their big issue. When they're in a hostile environment, hostile situation, things have gotten to them a little bit. So I think that this place, more than anything on the field, how does Alabama react to being in this situation? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Blake, you mentioned that. I mean, heck, I was there the following week and watched them play at Neyland. I mean, they struggled in that environment too. And I mean, I think comparable environments, it's so funny. On a side note, the amount of people that were DMing me after the Tennessee game, they wanted to know which which one was louder, man? Death Valley or Neyland? And I'm like, dude, Death Valley's in its own category. like we just, you know what I mean? Respect. Neyland was great. It was loud. It was deafening. Death Valley's in its own.
Like, hey, bro,
its own category. It's one of one.
One place had 102,000 people singing Boosie. Like you can't really replicate that.
Can't duplicate that. So I mean, yeah, I watched Bama on the road, to your point, and I mean, lack of discipline is something that's not a new. It's not a new issue. It goes back to when Nick Saban was there in the end of his tenure. So I mean, certainly, it becomes something, Blake, where that's a characteristic of your football team and of your football program. This isn't like a one-off thing. I would fully expect that to be a problem yet again. And I mean, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record next week when we dive into the preview and talk about the game. But LSU, Alabama, I know LSU is, imperfect like most teams out there. And Garrett Nussmeier scares the bejesus out of me at times. But is the game at LSU? Yes, it is. Is the game at night? Yes, it is. Well, that math ain't that hard in my opinion. So
yeah, the math ain't mathing.
The math ain't mathing. Watching Alabama, Blake, I'm going to say this. I don't think Alabama's man enough to go in there and win that game. I don't. Not under Caleb.
Hey, okay, so hold on. Last week, me and you were on content together, and we made a statement like that, and the bitch got 500,000 views. So,
listen, I respect, but I just don't think this Alabama football team is man enough to go into Death Valley at night and win. I just, from what I've seen, I don't. They're a shell of the program that we once knew under Nick Saban. There's so much stuff that has been happening this year that you're like, Nick Saban would never. Well, he's no longer there, right? And all due respect to Kalen DeBoer, he's not Nick Saban. So, listen, they've got personnel. They've got good personnel. I'm not saying they the season's a total wash for them, but in a playoff elimination game at Death Valley at night against an LSU team coming off a bye that's going to be, desperate to respond, to get that nasty taste out of their mouth from Kyle Field, I think they're going to get punched in the face. I really do. So
it is really something interesting. Like, how does LSU team refocus coming after a loss? Like, if they would have been A&M, how do they sustain the momentum of being good? Being on top. I think that's an interesting point that you're bringing up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly having 2 weeks to stew over that, and Kelly's been really good, obviously, bouncing back in those situations. And I mean, Blake, we've mentioned how good he is at home too. So I think you couple all that together. Again, I know you and I will as well dive into the specific matchups of this game next week when we get closer to it. But a lot of it's going to come down to Garrett Nussmeier. I mentioned earlier this week, I felt like he's the pitcher that throws 100 miles an hour that at times he just has no clue where it's going. Like he's got as high a ceiling as anybody, but man, he makes some throws that just make you scratch your head. I mean, we've seen it time and time again this year. It's just, if he could eliminate turnovers, easier said than done, but then again, not really. Just don't throw back across your body across the middle of the field into coverage. I think as long as LSU doesn't turn it over, they're in good position. But I like what Blake Baker's doing with the defense, obviously. You look at what Marcel Reed did. I think LSU, it looked like they were caught off guard a little bit. They're not going to get caught off guard with Jalen Milroe. And even watching the Mizzou film, like Jalen Milroe, it's like he's still trying to play hero ball, throwing the ball down the field. And I still don't think he's playing freely and loose. I'm like, that first half I watched in person against Georgia where he was read, go, and he was using his legs. And like he was playing like backyard football. Again, he reminded me of a Michael Vick. That just has been gone since. So I think Jalen Milroe, I think you write that off as he had one miracle half of football, and that's not really who he is, unfortunately, for Bama fans. So I think LSU will be much more prepared for the potential of him escaping the pocket in the quarterback run game.
Yeah, another thing too, both guys have had issues in reference to both have had difficult situations on third down. Like Milroe's had, I think, a lot of 3rd and 7s, a lot of 3rd and 8s, a lot of 3rd and 10s here. Mm-hmm. And so has Garrett. And to your point, I mean, like they've been in bad situations. I mean, look, a holding penalty killed them against Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Like, let's call it what it is. I mean, that last drive when Milroe threw the pick, I know they ultimately killed him. But the drive before that, when he dumped it off, I mean, it's 3rd and 23. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really hate the play necessarily, right? Like, I mean, I don't really hate it. I mean, because you think that you can play a little field position and make a stop, worst thing, field goal. But I mean, Chris, neither one of them have some conducive issues. But to your point about Garrett, man, I mean, look, I'm glad somebody else said it besides me. I mean, like people are, you're throwing the ball up to a 5'7" receiver in a jump ball situation, Chris. I mean, anybody that's played sports knows that who's going to win that battle. One guy's at a massive disadvantage. So yeah, man, I think it's very interesting there. Where do you see LSU going from here, though? Like when you look at the next 4 games, how do you see it playing out for them? Do you think you said that you don't think that Bama comes in here and is man enough to win, but how does that next 3 games go? At Florida, Vandy, and then Oklahoma. I mean, are they a playoff contending team?
I mean, I think they're still a playoff contending team for sure, Blake. On a side note, we just put the vlog together for the Nashville weekend, and I was reminded of
you texted me that, and I was in Rufino and Joe show.
Yeah, it's publishing tonight, but I was reminded looking back at the footage how partying with the Pavias. I'm sure he's going to bring his entire family out there. They're going to fit in very well in Baton Rouge, just on a side note. Very, very well.
All the Pavias might not make it out of Baton Rouge.
No, I'm a little – I don't know who I'm more nervous for, the Pavias or the LSU folks around the Pavias, because somebody's probably taking one to the chin. I don't know who it's going to be. Anyways, though, no, I think LSU's obviously a playoff contender, Blake. I mean, that's why we're labeling this Alabama game as a playoff eliminator. I don't think either one of these sides is getting in with 3 losses, but – I will say LSU does scare me from the standpoint of, this football team kind of feels like a reflection of their quarterback. And I think people need to realize, Blake, that, you can have these criticisms of Garrett Nussmeier and also say he's also a really good quarterback, but it just is who he is. Like the guy that throws 100 that can't throw strikes, he does still throw 100. So, it's not like we're totally disparaging the guy and ripping him to shreds, but this football team kind of echoes or kind of reflects him. And I think some of his play is probably the reason for the up and down nature. And so, I look at LSU, I feel really confident in the game against Alabama coming up here in a week and a half or so. But I also look at a game like Florida. I picked that as a loss before the season and an upset. Where is Billy Napier in Florida at that point? We'll see. And by the way, on a side note, I think Billy's actually a little bit safer than people realize in regards to his job status and where they sit right now. Just talking to Florida guys today. But, I think that's a really tricky game.
Do you think he survives? Side note, do you think he survives?
If he gets to 6 wins, he's back, Blake. And they're probably going to beat Florida State. Florida State's a total dumpster fire, obviously.
So basically, they got to upset somebody in this.
They've got to upset
Georgia, LSU.
Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss. So more than likely one of LSU and Ole Miss. Maybe Texas could screw around. Listen, I watched them at Vandy, and it's like,
where's that game at? Guys in the interns, can we find that? Where's that game at? Do you know?
The Florida-Texas game, I believe that's in Texas. That's in Texas. Because I was considering going to that one for Austin, but it's an 11 a.m. local time, which for Florida is probably the time you want to get them at home. So anyways, I look at LSU, man, there's some losable games left for sure outside of Bama. Yeah, Oklahoma should be a win. Vandy, even with Diego Pavia, should be a win. I could probably say the same about Florida, but, in this year of our Lord 2024, Blake, I don't think anything's a guarantee. So, and again, just what if Garrett Nussmeier goes out there against Vanderbilt and inexplicably throws 3 picks and Diego Pavia has the game of his life again, and we're talking about a tie game with 5 minutes to go. I'm just saying it's possible. So, but I think LSU is right there. I think as long as if Garrett Nussmeier can just raise the floor, but we've been saying it all year. That's the problem, Blake. I've been saying it all year, and it's just like he's the Bayou Brett Favre. We've said this. He's the Bayou Brett Favre. But you made the great point to me, Blake, one time, I think maybe off the record, there's a reason Brett Favre only had 1 Super Bowl because he threw more picks than anybody.
Right.
So he was a legend. But he was a legend that threw more picks than anybody else in the history of the game. So,
think about that for a minute.
You live by the sword, die by the sword. And you just pray to God that, what are there, 4 games left for LSU? You got the bye, then 4. You just pray to God that Garrett Nussmeier can get hot and play some of his best football down the stretch. You're kind of in that baseball mode of, God, hopefully we can be playing our best at the most important time. So,
Chris,
and that starts with your quarterback.
The number one thing that an offensive player, or especially a quarterback, has got to do, I don't care that he doesn't have a run game. I don't care. And he's not getting hit a lot. So there's no.
And I don't think the run game, I think we can kind of just, again, that's who LSU is. They could pop off like they did against Arkansas. But for the most part, I'm not going into any game thinking LSU is going to run for 200.
I said, dude, I literally came in here tonight because Alabama's 69th in run defense. What, by the way, fantastic number. Secondly,
nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Blake, on a side note, did you see – I know you saw that crazy Yankee fan last night that pried the ball.
Legend.
Do you know that apparently he was college buddies with Rob Gronkowski?
Oh, man.
Gronk was on a podcast. He was like, dude, I went to college with that guy. He was on the hockey team. He was a maniac. And I was like, for Gronkowski to call you a maniac?
I mean, in all fairness, okay, the statement that he made, I think it's Bush League. Okay, let me just say this.
Dude, he's prying the glove open. That was so absurd. Hey, have you seen the meme? They caught you in 4K.
Yeah, I did see. But here's the thing. Here's the only thing. Here's why I excuse everything about that play. It's because the comment that he made was, if you come in my area, I'm playing good D. Okay?
Oh, my God. That here's the thing. Everybody else in the world says scumbag. If that's your team, you're like, that's the most legendary fan of all time.
Oh, dude, why wouldn't I?
He's laying his body on the line for his squad.
Because
you think if the sidelines weren't somehow in football on the side of the field and there was a 50-50 ball, you think Blake Ruffino wouldn't lean over the gate and try to swat the ball away? You wouldn't pull a Woody Hayes or who was it that tackled the guy on the sideline, right? Remember he's running down, he trips him or whatever, or tackles him.
Dude, literally, okay, I'll never forget this at Southeastern, okay? A side referee slipped down, okay? So, and the X was running a go. We had an offensive lineman, we'll remain nameless, who tripped the wide receiver because obviously the side referee fell down. So, like, he's trying to get up and, like, fall, he's, like, trying to get up. This before instant replay is a big deal. Rams the wide receiver and falls down. That's where the quarterback's throwing it. So he falls down. Wide receiver falls down on the ground. Quarterback throws the ball, and everybody's like, whoa, throw the flag. No flag is thrown, okay? And so, yeah, I mean, like that. And so I'm not going to confirm or deny what coach said this. We had a coach, our coordinator, come into a film study and say, listen, this is what you call attention to detail inside of a game. He saw the referee fall, and he knocks a wide receiver over. You got to have the attention to detail in the moment, Chris.
You've got to. Dude, we used to do stuff like that in baseball too, but on the field. There was a squeeze play where essentially it was a two-man umpire crew, you would suicide squeeze to third base. Third baseman comes in. That umpire's like looking over this way. So what you do is you round the bag short. You like run along the dirt. You don't even go to the bag. If you're coming from second, you just cut it off short, and they don't see it. They don't know. So, I mean, listen, Bush League's part of baseball, unfortunately, guys. Hate to tell you.
The Astros say hello. That's
exactly.
Would you rather that or what the Astros did? Anyway, back to the topic. You were talking about – so let me ask you this. Let me go back to the Bama game because you've been there. First off, how was your experience? We didn't get you back, unfortunately, but how was your experience in Death Valley? How'd you like it for your first real experience?
I mean, listen, Blake, I think at this point it's pretty well documented, and I got to say, I feel like I've been adopted as one of LSU's prodigal sons, or Baton Rouge's one of their own, even though don't throw stones, even though I did say something nice about A&M this week, which, by the way, Blake, I'll just say this. I get it. Because even when I said something nice about A&M, they were like, fuck you, don't be jumping on the I'm like, I can't even give you praise. Guy calling me crazy because I was like, I just thought it was fair to say Mike Elko in year one might only win 7 or 8 games. No, that was a bullshit take. I'm like, all right, you know what? To hell with it. Anyways, I get it.
So again,
I get it.
I made my comment about A&M last week, and people thought I was crazy. You see the comments, like I'm not crazy. That's how they feel about him, and Anyway,
yeah, I get it. I'm going to College Station in a few weeks. I'm gonna be careful what I say beyond that, but I get it.
Little brother, man. Little brother syndrome.
What was it? Jacked up truck.
Jacked up truck.
Overcompensating for something.
And here's what's funny. You ready? The way that they're reacting to my comments from last week, okay, you're kind of making the point. You're kind of like driving home the point. Like, so you're quote tweeting me twice. Okay, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but I'm just saying you're literally that. Thank you. You know, like, so anyway.
Yeah.
Back
as Woody once said, if the boot fits.
If the boot fits, that's it. I mean, literal boot. This is the boot.
Literal boot. No, but Death Valley spiritual experience, man. I mean, it was the volume was 100 plus from start to finish. It was some of the best in-game presentation I've ever seen with the in-stadium traditions, the band, the chants, it felt like it was never quiet, even though I know it at times was. I mean, when the offense is on the field or breaks in the action, but it just felt like it was never quiet. Blake, I think I told you this and I've told others. LSU was the one place I've been, and it still stands as the one place I've been where I felt intimidated. There was an intimidation in the air. Like it was just a next level type of, and I mean, I've told people, Blake, and I mean this respectfully. I said, I had a great time at LSU. I don't know if I'd want to go there as a visiting fan, like a true diehard visiting fan. Not for anything malicious or anything, but you need rhino skin if you're going to walk in there and, think you're going to, be acting a fool and whatever. So just prepare yourself, mentally prepare yourself. But the LSU folks were great, man. They welcomed us with open arms, welcomed me with open arms. I mean, I mentioned this. I even got emotional in pregame watching everything. I was just so happy to be there. It had been a bucket list item for forever as a college football fan,
right.
College sports fan. And so to be watching it all unfold, the festivities, game gets underway. I mean, it just, again, man, I just told you, it needs to be put in its own category. I don't think it's fair to compare other stadiums to Death Valley. I just, at night, Death Valley at night, it is a spiritual experience, as I said before. It is just, it's hard to put into words, honestly.
And look, you thought Ole Miss was chaotic?
Bama will be next. But on that note, I told you I went with my sister and her husband, and the guy we went with, their friend who we stayed with in Baton Rouge, lived about 5 minutes from downtown. He's an LSU alum, LSU diehard. You'd have to remind me what LSU says on kickoffs. I forget. But anyway, or maybe I forget what chant it was, but at the end of the chant every time, Blake, he was adding to the end, and fuck Bama every time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the hatred's real. It's next. He even mentioned, he's like, it's next level. I mean, we hate them. Truly hate them.
And here's the thing too: their playoff hopes are on the line. Year 3 under a coach. I mean, it's gonna.
Would LSU have it any other way though, Blake? I mean, what an opportunity. I mean, I know your playoff hopes are on the line too, but the little man is no longer on that opposing sideline.
Correct.
And I think we talked about this, Blake. I think it's big for LSU, kind of like how it was big for Tennessee. Like I went to that game, Tennessee Bama. It was just so important because they've had this amount of success against you. For Tennessee, they dominated you, but you're essentially starting a new chapter in the rivalry where you can now say we're 1-0 against Kalen DeBoer's Alabama, and that's not the same as Nick Saban's Alabama. We're starting this is a new chapter to the rivalry. Really important, obviously, to get off to that 1-0 start against them.
Right. And I think that so Chris, I called it this week. You're going to find out where your culture lies, who you are as a program. I mean, look, you got what you feel like. I say you, but meaning the fan base. You feel like you got embarrassed last week, so you're kind of tucking your tail in between your legs to a lot of extent. And they're like, all right, well, we got a chance to make it up. Basically, we got into a fight and we got beat up and we had to walk into school on Monday. Right? But like, yeah, okay. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a fight with a big dude, and I'm just going to kind of whop his ass in the nose and see what happens. That kind of like, I mean, I'm not saying I've ever done that, but I mean, I'm just saying. Don't hit me in my big ass Italian.
What do you say, Blake? Styles make fights.
Styles make fights. Always do. That's why, like this week, look, I was going to do picks in a minute, but I want to get to it with you around the SEC too.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of A&M,
this is the one you find out who A&M really is.
You're going to find out who they are.
Yeah, you're going to find out, have they shed all of that Jimbo stench off of them, or is it still lingering? And that was my big question for Elko coming in. It's like, I know you like him too. I like Elko as a coach. I mean, no matter how you feel about A&M, Mike Elko's a much better fit, just a much better football coach.
My bad. Here's how I would equate it. Dan Campbell was with the Saints for a long time. Okay. He's a coach of the Lions. He's an A&M guy. Okay. He's the Dan Campbell of the SEC. Tough, rough, F-U. That's who he is. And you're going to win with a dude like that. I'm sorry. When the culture's built like that and the coach demands that, you're going to win. So, Chris, I don't mean this in a wrong way. Our society, we can be built off of being pussies. Okay, but at the same time, when a dude like that, when a real alpha male walks off in there, you ain't getting beta bitches. You know, like you're getting dudes. And I think that's the mentality of what A&M is playing with. And listen, I'm going to be a little real with you. That front seven from South Carolina, I feel like has that same mentality. I think that this is a slug fest. But like if A&M goes in there and like stops that front seven and be like, oh shit, oh God, you know.
Well, I think that's why they got to go with Marcel Reed. Like, I mean, I think they've got Connor Wegman doesn't have a chance against those edges from South Carolina against that front seven. So they've got to use Marcel Reed to try to negate that. Although, I mean, again, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, it's one of the best duos in the country. And those guys have allowed some other dudes, Blake, that I think were just okay in years past to elevate their game to a next level. You mentioned to me off the air, Tonka Hemingway, how good he's been. But, like, that's why it's so important to stack depth and get quality pieces around you because it allows guys, I think, to really come into their own. Also, too, if you follow college football really, really closely, I wouldn't expect LSU fans to really know this, but anybody out there shouldn't be surprised by what we're seeing with South Carolina's defensive front because their defensive line coach is a guy named Travian Robertson. And Travian Robertson played at South Carolina, was an All-American, all-everything. His mentor and his D-line coach at South Carolina was a friend of mine, the late, great Brad Lawing. That was the defensive line coach that coached Jadeveon Clowney, that coached Travian Robertson. And this was a dude, I got to talk to him, Blake, one time about the art of the pass rush. Folks, if you think it's just pin your ears back and go to the quarterback, I learned about pain points. I learned about if you knew which way the center was going, how he could manipulate. I mean, dude, it was football porn listening to him talk about it. Like it was, you don't realize, he's like, we'd watch film study 6, 7, 8 hours just watching the offensive line and watching the center and just watching his cues. It was, you would love it. It was awesome. Unfortunately, again, he passed away about a year and a half ago, but it was
D-line coaches know just as much about offensive line play than anybody, and O-line coaches just know just as much about D-line play. You can't not know, right? Because you watch so much. But you're right. And look, I think the safety play for South Carolina, Kilgore.
Yeah, him and Warrior and Kilgore, that's a hell of a duo, man.
Hell of a duo. And I'm going to tell you, man, too, how Kilgore. That sounds like what was the guy of Black Panther, the Killmonger? Okay, yeah. Like that kind of. All right, he's gonna kill. Kills in the name. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
I just look at this game though, Blake. It's going to be a raucous environment. I mean, I was in that building 2 years ago when South Carolina scored their only win over A&M in program history. It was a night game. You open that game up with a kickoff return for a touchdown. You had a couple turnovers. Or that was a bad A&M team. They went 5-7 that year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But. You know, this is a game, Blake, where it's like nothing would shock you. You know, if I pick one side or you pick one side and you're wrong, you'll be like, I should have seen the other thing coming just because it makes so much sense. But you have this team in South Carolina that's been so inconsistent, hot and cold, up and down. The defense has been consistent, but offensively been so inconsistent. I think A&M's been a little bit more consistent. And I think from a personnel standpoint, they are better top to bottom than South Carolina.
Yes.
I think personnel is going to beat out a loud crowd. But I'm not going to be surprised if the Gamecocks are able to spark a few turnovers. Again, that defensive front, if they do make a big play in special teams. And the thing that also worries me too, Blake, we saw South Carolina come out of a bye week against Ole Miss with one of the most horrific game plans you have ever seen. I mean, who can forget the fake punt on the first drive? So, like, how am I supposed to trust that this coaching staff, this offensive staff, is going to have a plan in place to go up against that front seven from A&M with the Shamars and Scorton and York? And good luck. I mean, good luck. So, pair of young quarterbacks. I won't be surprised if both sides turn it over, lower scoring game. But I'm taking A&M in that ballgame just to find a way.
I'm with you there. Any other team in their game in the SEC that you're really intrigued by this week?
How about Woo Pig Suey? I got Arkansas straight up beating Ole Miss.
Okay, let's
I've
go
been
there.
so underwhelmed by Ole Miss, man. I even watching them like last weekend against Oklahoma, they're down at half. Like, I mean, I think you've talked about it. I've talked about it with others. The offensive line has been so disappointing for them. It has just been so disappointing, which has led to the offense being super underwhelming. I mean, I like them defensively. You know, it's a risky pick, but it's only a 7-point spread. It's a risky pick. I'm essentially banking on, though, that Arkansas can build off a big performance. I feel like they've been so, like, they're really good, then they're really bad. Then they're really good, then they're really bad. You mentioned it, too, man. If Taylon Green continues to build confidence, and they've got maybe the most underrated wide receiver room in the league. They've got a guy in Jaquindon Jackson that you do not want to meet him in the hole. Pause. I mean, I had to steal one from you there, Blake. No, so I'm taking Arkansas.
How was I not ready for that? I wasn't even ready, and you hit me with it. Good catch. See, you're learning. You're learning Louisiana culture. Welcome.
Blake, do you know that I've started to, on our previews, you're probably going to notice it, I've started on our previews, pull out the however.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to pick up on it. I'm like, Nick, I'm stealing, I'm swagger jacking from Blake.
Dude, I love a good however.
Blake, there's nothing you love more than a good however.
Oh, man, I love it because everybody says.
If your audience doesn't know yet, when Blake starts to make a point, just hang in there because a however's coming and you're going to get the other perspective in a few moments.
Oh, the other shoe's going to drop. Here's the thing, dude. When I'm making these notes for this show, okay, look at this.
I imagine there's two sides.
Oh, there's two sides. Look. Okay. I write down every single thought that I have because I play good versus evil. I play.
See, but that's why I like listening to your stuff, Blake, not to not to stroke your ego any more than blow the head up any more than it needs to be. But that's why I like watching your stuff because you get both sides and both perspectives. You lay out the path to victory for both sides, and then you say what you think is going to happen. I think that's fair. I like that. I think that's a good way to go about it. So love a good however.
Actually, I tell you what happened. So I had a professor at Southeastern. He was a history professor. Loved him. Aces. I've never loved another teacher, professor, teacher, whatever. Okay. Aces. Only one that like class I was actually like really wanting to go to. It's why I was so good in history. It's because like he just taught well, man. I wanted to be there. He always kept my attention, Anyway, he would always hit us with this long lecture, okay, about how, when we got to Louisiana history and about the Louisiana Purchase and the Mississippi River and how all that was going down. And at the end of every, lecture, he would go, however, what is about to come next will change the course of history. And so we would be at a local bar called Brady's, and we all take his class. Dude, like everybody's got to take his class as a freshman. And then when you do history, you got him in other classes too. He would have like 1,000 students in one class. Okay. And I'm like, I'd be at the bar like, however. Okay. And like that was the thing. Like,
just stuck.
Do the doc. However. And so now I do it because I mocked him so damn much. I love him even more now. He was teaching me how to be a man, Chris. I'm sorry.
I respect it. Again, who doesn't love a good however? By the way, I wanted to point out something JTL says in the comments about the trap game for A&M.
Is this it right here?
That's it right there. Yeah. He just looks like a trap game. You're not wrong, but I kind of feel like, Blake, this game has been circled as a trap game for A&M for so long that at some point, Blake, if you keep calling it a trap game, it's no longer a trap game. Like,
right.
It's fully well got their attention, or it should. I mean, It should. And I see Elko as a no-nonsense, like, listen, I haven't drank the A&M Kool-Aid all year long. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Listen, if they go lay an egg, I might have to go back to my post that everybody was giving me hell on and be like, well, I shouldn't have drank the Kool-Aid. So, y'all are welcome.
The only thing with them is, man, if they get past this one,
you feel pretty good. I mean, they got New Mexico, Auburn, and then Texas. So,
well, at minimum, you're probably – but see, here's the thing. Chris, they would have to – let's say they beat South Carolina. They would then have to turn around and lose to Auburn and lose to Texas to potentially not be in Atlanta. Like, that's where they are. So let's just say that they do beat South Carolina, or they do lose, okay, or they do win. Chris, they got to lose a whole nother one. So, I mean, like, look, man, I know that everybody is like, hey, man, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, the Kool-Aid is there's a strong likelihood that they're playing in the SEC championship game. I mean, listen, Blake,
Blake, give them credit. That was a tough game against LSU, but it was at home at night. They've capitalized on a soft schedule. I mean, give them credit. They have. They've capitalized on a soft schedule. That schedule was soft. I mean, it was a reason why after the Mizzou game, it's like, this is kind of all we have to go off of. They beat on a Mizzou team that's super overrated. And it's like, well, who else they played? Like, really nobody. I mean,
right.
That's why, finally LSU, I was like, okay, this to me shows more, because I was and still am a really big believer in LSU. So I'll tip my cap and give you your props. I wasn't even ready to give props after the Missouri win, which is why I picked LSU in that football game, and I felt really smart for about 30 minutes. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. Yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due and tip the cap to them. But intriguing games again, Blake. I like Arkansas over Ole Miss. I've been super underwhelmed by them, and I'm a believer in Bobby Petrino and that offense continuing to roll even against a really, really good defense. Apparently, Walter Nolan might be out.
Yes,
this weekend.
That's correct.
That's significant. Also, of course, Blake, the game I'm going to this weekend, Georgia, Florida. Just let me be intrigued by it. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say, but at least early on, Blake, I'm so excited to see the emotions in that game, the Trevor Etienne factor. I just imagine Brandon Spikes on top of Noshawn Moreno just jawing him relentlessly. That's what Florida guys are going to want to do. I don't think they have a Brandon Spikes, but that's what they're going to probably be envisioning they want to do. Can Georgia play a clean football game? That's if they're mucking it up and turning the football over again, I mean,
anything can happen.
You mentioned this. You mentioned this when Arkansas played Tennessee. Empty the clip. That was like if Florida's not emptying the clip the rest of the way out, I don't know what we're doing, because there is a path for Billy to be back. But hey, you want to lock it in? Go beat Georgia. Go beat Texas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
I don't think Florida is as bad of a team.
They've silently been getting better. They have. They've quietly been getting better.
Well, I mean, who have they lost to? Blake, they lost to Tennessee in overtime. Okay,
the Tennessee loss was a damning loss, though. I know
it was a damning loss.
They should have won that game. Billy Napier blew that game for them.
Completely blew it. But in the same sense, I'm like, okay, so a top 10 team won, right?
They lost to A&M.
They lost to A&M, who might be the SEC front runner, or is the SEC front runner right now.
They lost to Miami.
They have the best offense in college football.
The thing with the Miami game, again, I was there in person. It was the way it happened. I don't care how good Miami is. I mean, they just you can't get run out of your own stadium, dude. In the swamp, in the season opener. You can't and then you can't have Miami guys chirping your recruiting section after don't go here, come to Miami. Bro, if somebody did that at LSU, did that at LSU, I think the Bayou would have there'd be a revolt. You've seen people throw beer on the field in the SEC.
You've seen people throw mustard, okay, at a stadium.
Too.
Golf balls.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't ready for crawfish and boudin and cold couscous to be thrown down on the field. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
That sounds like a delicious evening, Blake.
I know. I don't know whether to be mad or
still miss the food. I really do. I still miss the food. I told people since I left,
it's
the best food you've ever eaten. It's the best food you've ever eaten.
You texted me on the Sunday. I was like, how you feeling? Like, and you're like, well, I gained 6 pounds.
I did, for real. I literally came home from the LSU trip I have a scale in my bathroom. I was up 6 pounds from that weekend.
What did I tell you when we went out to eat? Look, listen, I in any other normal state, I'm a healthy 230. Okay, I just can't get away from it here, man.
The thing is, though, when you're in Baton Rouge, it's like the food is so good. Like if I went and ate McDonald's, I'd feel like a disgusting human. No offense to anybody that eats McDonald's, but I just feel like my body. But the food's so good, it's like you don't realize it while you're indulging in it how bad it is for you. You know, like it's kind of like it's like drinking apple pie moonshine. You don't realize what it's doing to you till you're about 5 in, and you can't stand up. So, that's how the food is. It's like you don't realize what it's doing to you until after a couple of weeks, and you're like, these pants don't fit anymore.
Oh, well, first off, you know what's funny is because, dude, to my credit, I've drinking 3 glasses of wine this entire football season, and most of them have come off of a celebration. Like my daughter, we had a glass of wine. We went to eat, just the family for my daughter's birthday. Glass of wine. I got to take the edge off. Okay, I mean whatever. But I got to admit, when your boy would go on a Saturday after LSU would lose, and I'm like, "Where's the Daniels? Where?"
I'm about to say this is coming from a guy that we literally sit in the baseball stadium, and it's like, yeah, I smell bourbon.
Oh, could you not smell it though?
Yeah, I could.
I mean, and so there's no dude. So just for everybody to understand this, so I meet Chris at the box. Okay, we're gonna go watch a little baseball. We sit down, and the whole place smelled like bourbon.
And I was like, at a scrimmage,
and I'm like, at a baseball scrimmage. Okay, in fucking October. Okay, and I'm like, Chris, do you smell that? And he's like, of course, yeah. I mean, I was like, dude, and that's the point. That's the culture that you're getting. And to wrap this all up in a bow, I feel like that my barometer of this place from what the fan base feels is 99.9% on point. Okay, with the emotion. I mean, you're not going to out-emotion me from an LSU point. If you want an emotional take, trust me, I read and interact with more comments than any content person on this beat. I promise you, okay? It's going to be serious in come 2 weeks. I feel it.
Do you equate it to when you said that the Ole Miss game was program defining? Is this a similar vibe? I mean, is it?
Similar vibe, yeah.
Yeah, because to your point, you made a great point. It's we all know what they're going to be saying about Brian Kelly if they lose.
Correct.
It just right, wrong, or indifferent. You can print the headline before the game even starts. I'm
going to read you the headline. You ready? Nick Saban in year 3. Les Miles in year 3. Ed Orgeron in year 3. Brian Kelly, It's what's going to hit the Times-Picayune or whatever the newspaper. I'm telling you, it's what's going to hit it. Chris, I have been through more coaching searches, okay, which I love coaching searches.
Great for content.
Not only great for content, what people don't understand, brother, the views are insane. I mean, who's going to be the next head coach? So anyway, I should come out here every night saying, fire Brian Kelly. If I want to make money, fire Brian Kelly, right? Like that's what I should be doing. However, there's a good however. However, I know, I'm telling you, actually, I'm not even going to do it. If you're in the chat and agree, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. The things are going to be, it's going to be that way. Couldn't win it. We're 9-3 purgatory. And Chris, there is no more pissed off LSU fan than being in 9-3 purgatory. They'll call him less. Okay, you're good enough. You're good enough to be there. I mean, you do this 25 times a month. You feel like you know how this place is going to react. All right, I've kept you way too long, but thank you, Chris.
It's always a pleasure, man.
Filtered. I love y'all's content, man. You know I told you this. I love what y'all are doing. You going to the games. It is awesome stuff. I mean,
and I want to apologize to all the great folks in Baton Rouge because as much as I would love to be back in a week and a half, there are the places, Blake, we haven't been that we got to show love. So I'll play spoiler here on the show. We'll obviously announce it after this weekend concludes, but that weekend we'll actually be in Oxford for the Ole Miss Georgia game. So, I mean, It's not going to be LSU. It's not going to be LSU.
Oh,
man.
no, it's not.
Not even remotely close. I'm actually going probably to the polar opposite, Blake, from hanging on the bayou, eating jambalaya at the tailgate, smelling the bourbon, going to the night game, the rowdiness, the craziness, to the prim and proper on the Grove.
That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly
I'm going back to prep school, straight up. So all love to the Ole Miss folks, but that I've been told little bit snooty. So
listen,
you're wearing a t-shirt to the tailgate. Sure, you sure?
I know for a 100% fact you're going to hear this. Becky, can you get my Birkenstocks? I feel like Ole Miss is the Birkenstock of the SEC.
I have heard, though, Blake, Ole Miss is where they redshirt Miss Americas. So I'm intrigued by the trip. I'm going to leave it at that. So,
well, they do. I cannot deny that. I cannot deny it. All right, Chris Phillips, Unfiltered. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you for joining me.
Blake, you're the man. I appreciate it anytime, man.
All right, that's Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. Always fantastic. That was a great conversation. Fantastic conversation. I'll give you picks tomorrow, and we'll expand on that. Until then, y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.